This is Sean. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Part 2. Rob just down 5 beers. So
Yes, I did. We're back. We have got a whole crowd behind us. They love us so much. Woo! Listen to the crowd and listen to the bagpipes. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We are the Wise Guys with a Z. That's the Wise Guys with the Z podcast. Podcast. Woo!
How about there we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, got a band behind us and everything.
Yeah, we hire all kinds of people.
Thank you so much for watching. Good night. Just kidding.
All right. So, today, Rob.
Yes.
We did a part 1
Yes.
of our podcast of famous Irish bands, but some of them not so famous here, of course.
Right.
But, you know, other parts of the world, you know, their music is more famous in other parts of the world, of course.
We're going to do a whole podcast on Sinead O'Connor.
No, actually.
Rest in peace,
that would be the shortest podcast ever.
Sinead O'Connor.
That would be... Now, with truth be told, we do have a problem with that, but musically, she did put out some good stuff, but we're going to leave it at that. Because politically, neither of us care for her too much, obviously, because she did not like
care more.
the beautiful country we live in.
I care more about these sausage balls.
A lot more, right? Yeah, that's good. By the way, Rob's eating these beautiful sausage balls, okay?
Yeah.
That are delicious, that are for St. Patty's Day.
We'll put a hat on top of it.
Yeah, because it deserves to have a hat.
Sausage balls for you.
So, moving on with the bands, I'm going to start with one just to give a little background. So I think like late 50s, early 60s, there was a group of brothers, like either 3 or 4 of them. They were called the Clancy brothers.
Oh, yeah.
But they would be the equivalent over here of somebody like Woody Guthrie or some of those early kind of like poet that kind of preceded Bob Dylan per se. And people like that.
You know, kind of something like that.
Something like that.
I was a man with an Irish mouth.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, they would write a lot of protest songs once again, like on our previous episode we were talking about that because of this Protestant, Catholic, political, religious fight that's still going on to this day with these people. And I don't know what side of the fence they're on.
Yes.
The Clancy brothers or Sinead O'Connor or any of these people.
Yep.
And frankly, you know, it's not your and my fight. So, but regardless, they wrote these protest songs kind of like Woody Guthrie did, kind of like Bob Dylan did, people like that, but that were more, you know, along the lines of the political, religious upheaval there.
Yes.
So mainly just guitar, fiddle, that type of thing, and it was just folk songs. So the Clancy brothers kind of, you know, brought this out for people, that type of a sound. And then I know you're going to laugh at this one, but the one that brought it a little more mainstream, so we talked about this earlier, was a band that had a little success in the States here. But yes, Rob, they were called Horse Lips.
Horse lips, guys. Horse lips. Happy St. Patrick's Day, you horse lip.
So, H-O-R.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome you. We are welcoming you to the Villa Rica Amphitheater.
Horse Lips.
Horse lips.
Now, Horse Lips melded kind of the 70s rock sound, but then would have fiddle in it, more like traditional Irish instruments. So they kind of preceded your Flogging Molly and kind of...
Flogging Molly, horse lips. Ireland. Guinness is my name.
Okay, so how did Horse Lips get its name, Rob?
Horse Lips got its name because there was some people that were in the crowd that looked like they had horse lips.
That is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Well, that would be incorrect.
Yes.
Once again. So Horse Lips.
Right.
Was once again going back to kind of this religious upheaval. It is a turn on the horsemen of the apocalypse out of the book of Revelations from the Bible. That's where they got that. Horse lips was a form of the horsemen of the apocalypse. And believe it or not, look it up. That one's true because I already looked it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, if you
Horsemen of the
will,
apocalypse.
horse lips of the apocalypse.
Anyhow, unique sound. You know, I did, even before we did this podcast, do have some of their records. Mm-hmm. Nothing I would listen to over and over again because I'd laugh.
Hey, can you imagine? Can you imagine? We're sitting there and we're having drinks at the house, which we're doing right now. Hey, man, I cannot think of a better album for you to pull out than Horse Lips.
Which one, Rob?
I don't know. There's so many albums that they had called Horse Lips. Cowhide. Yeah, Horse Lips.
But anyhow, they furthered that sound that those guys did in the early 60s.
Yes.
This is the whole point of that.
Yes.
And then we would come to one I think that you would know a bit about would be the them.
Horse Lips.
No. Now you know a lot about Horse Lips.
I do know a lot about Horse Lips.
But there was a little band around the time of the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, when all that was coming out, called the Them. Okay.
The Them, yes.
Yep. And they had basically in the States here one hit that hit Gloria. You know that G-O-R-A, Gloria. Everybody knows that song.
Gloria.
And that was made famously also in the 70s by, I remember that Paddy Smith out of New York.
Yes.
That punk figure. She had a famous hit with that too.
You call her a punk figure?
She was a punk figure, but she figured to be in the punk scene.
Figure of a punk?
Right, or figure of a punk. Or she was a punky figure.
Yes.
But anyhow, that was, at least in the States here, they were around that time, at the beginning of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Maybe that song was 64, 65, somewhere in there. That was their big hit here. That was a hit in the States.
Yes.
But the singer of the Them was Van Morrison. Okay,
yes,
so
we all know Van Morrison.
So another Irish, right, brown-eyed girl.
Brown-eyed.
Tupelo Honey.
Yep.
Quite a few, Van Morrison had quite a few hits.
Yes.
Still successfully.
Very successful.
Tours to this day, to the best of my knowledge. I don't know if he's retired now.
Nope. Still out there. I think he's coming to Villa Rica Amphitheater.
He's opening for Horse Lips.
He's one with special guest Dropkick Murphys. Same with the beer that is Dropkick Murphys.
So anyhow, Van Morrison was the original lead singer. Would you like a chip, Rob?
Yeah, we're gonna
offer one to the audience.
Hey, I will.
Okay. Anyhow, he was the original singer of the Them, and pretty much I think he was one of the writers too. So pretty much after he left, they were done, and then he went on to an incredibly successful career. That God knows how many albums and CDs he's made over the years. And should we take a break while Rob shows food in his pie hole?
Keep talking.
Okay. All right. So his horse lips. Look at Rob's horse lips. Oh my. So next one that we would go with is there was a band in the early 80s.
Oh, yeah?
You knew one song by them. I know you kind of like this like glam metal or hair metal or that stuff that came out. And you actually remember when I brought this up to you, we were talking about it a little earlier. They were called the Mama's Boys, okay? And they were out of Ireland. I never knew they were out of Ireland.
Not to be confused with the Mamas and Papas.
Right, not at all, because that had Cass Elliot and
from
Canada. Phillips. Right.
They were from Canada.
And they were from Canada by way of the United States. But anyhow, the Mama's Boys had, basically, they were a one-hit wonder. They did that song, Mama, We're All Crazy Now.
Mama, we're all crazy now.
Exactly, which was actually done by that glam band out of Britain called Slade. Slade was the original ones that did that song, and then these guys had like 5 minutes of fame covering that song, and then they were kind of done after that.
Were they the same band that sang "Run, Run Away"?
Slade was, yeah. Kind of had the bagpipe.
Run, run away.
Yeah.
I don't know it.
Yeah. But you do know the melody because that is the song.
Yes, by Slade.
That was a later song by Slade.
Yes.
And they were kind of where they dressed like women, basically.
Yeah.
That Slade did.
I like that song. I don't
yeah.
care how they dressed, but
Either do I. It is a good song.
Yeah.
But anyhow, they wrote that one.
and look at me.
Yeah,
Oh, like,
he looks like a fool
oh,
too.
like a damn fool.
So anyhow, they did "Mama We're All Crazy Now," which was covered by the
Quiet
Mama's
Train.
Boys, and that was really the only thing. They might have had a couple regional hits over there in England,
Yes.
but they were pretty much a one and done thing. The next one was kind of the mighty blues guitarist Rory Gallagher. Do you remember Rory Gallagher?
I do.
Okay, Rory Gallagher had a string
Don't
of
ask me
successful.
anything about it because I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Well,
I do remember him.
He did have a string of successful blues albums, strictly blues rock type things. He was a player, along the lines of Gary Moore or Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh yeah.
It's like a blues rock. He died at a very young age. Also, I think he was only in his early 50s. He was in a band called Taste that was popular in the late 60s.
Wow.
He left that and he had a lot of success in the United States. Ironically enough, when we did the Rush episode, I saw the Signals tour, and the opening band I saw there, if you remember this, was Golden Earring.
Yes.
Okay, on that tour.
Yes.
Well, the rest of that tour, Rory Gallagher was the opening band for that tour.
I'll
for
be
Rush.
darned. That's pretty
So-
awesome.
And then I don't think it was many years after that he passed away, and I forget he had some sort of an illness that he passed away from. I can't now remember what it was. The other very very significant at least rock band out there was Thin Lizzy.
Yes.
Have you ever seen Thin Lizzy?
I have not seen Thin Lizzy. No.
Okay.
I know about Tin Lizzy's. That's a great restaurant.
Tin Lizzy.
Tin Lizzy?
Or Tin Lizzy
Tin-
was an
Tin
old.
Lizzy?
Was a model.
Great
They called the
margaritas.
Model A a Tin Lizzy. I can't
Yeah.
remember. Something
Thin
like
Lizzy.
that.
Thin Lizzy.
But it was a Thin Lizzy.
Thin Lizzy.
Is what they called the band.
Tin Lizzy.
And we can't discuss why that is, but
Yeah.
Do you know why that is? I'll tell you off camera then. But anyhow, yeah, ladies, if you look up Thin Lizzy, you're not going to like what you find. But anyhow, point with them is they had great success here in the United States, unlike other than U2 and a couple other. I mean, most of these bands really did not have that kind of success.
Yeah.
Thin Lizzy had success with what songs, Rob? Do you remember? Some of the songs they had. They had Boys Are
Back in Town. I knew that one. Yeah.
They had Jailbreak.
Yep.
Which was a big song.
Yep.
Rosalie was a big song.
Mm-hmm.
They had quite a few others. One, I'm surprised you're not going to mention this, Whiskey in the Jar.
Whiskey in the Jar. Yes.
Okay, so
Oh wow.
yeah, so that was a traditional.
I love that song,
It's a
man.
great song.
A lot of Celtic Thunder. That group did that.
Yep. And who else did that song, Whiskey in the Jar?
Whiskey in the Jar. Metallica. They
Correct.
did. They
Metallica
sure did.
brought that up as a famous song, and all it is a traditional Irish folk song.
Oh yes.
And
They did a great job.
my wife Laura and I, we used to go to this Irish bar before we did go to different shows when we were living in Arizona there.
Uh-huh.
And there was this jukebox that was owned by this Irish couple, and they had a jukebox and had a big selection of Irish songs. So I frequently put in Whiskey in the Jar.
Oh, yeah.
It was not
Whiskey in
it was
the
not a Metallica version. It was a
Gyro,
traditional
yeah.
Irish folk version, and she was so cute. This woman, the wife, she was also a server at different times there, and she kind of dance around a little bit and sing the songs. It was kind of fun with her.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just a traditional song that Thin Lizzy made famous. It was around for probably hundreds of years.
Oh yeah.
And then really Metallica really even took that a step further by covering that song. So out of that band kind of bred many different guitarists. They were always a two-guitar attack. I think other than the first one or two albums, I think they only had a one-guitar attack, a gentleman by the name of Eric Bell, and then he left the band. Later on, it spawned Gary Moore. Remember Gary Moore?
Yes, I do.
Okay, which was a wonderful blues guitarist. He didn't get a start there, but he did a stint with Thin Lizzy. And then the guitarist Snowy White. Remember we were laughing about Snowy White last week? That's his name.
Snowy White.
His name is Snowy White, and he was the guitarist, one of the last guitarists for Thin Lizzy did the last 2 albums that Thin Lizzy did. I think Thunder and Lightning, or maybe only the last one, which was Thunder and Lightning. And then he went on to famously hook up with Pink Floyd. So Snowy White during that Wall time, and then later did tours with Pink Floyd is really where he was most famous and doing those sessions with Pink Floyd.
Excuse me for interrupting you,
Please.
but I want to ask. Okay, so I'm sitting here trying to figure out. I'm listening to you,
Okay.
but I'm also trying to figure out that song by AC/DC that Bon Scott actually played the bagpipes.
It's a long way to the top. It's a rock.
Yes,
It's a long
yes.
way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Bon Scott, him bringing out that bagpipe during that song is freaking rocking, man.
And this kind of fits because he was Scottish at least. He
Yeah.
wasn't Irish, but
Yeah.
he's at least
Hey,
Scottish.
I'm Scottish too.
If it's not
Scottish,
Scottish,
Irish,
it's what?
let's call the whole
If
thing
it's not
off.
Scottish, it's what?
Yeah, if it's Irish.
No, it's crap. But anyhow.
It's not Scottish.
Don't you remember that bit on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
They did that
It's
bit
not
where
Scottish,
it's not
it's crap.
Scottish, it's crap.
It's crap.
Right,
It's
right,
crap in your mouth.
Right, in your mouth. In your mouth.
Hey, and let me
ahead.
just, we're going to get off on a tangent
Of
here.
course
but-
we do, as we always do. I'm going
So-
to have a chip while you get off
Yeah,
the tangent.
so basically, this is a great day for Guinness. Guinness is a great beer out there. Jameson is a fantastic whiskey as well. I just started getting into the Irish whiskeys myself. There's another one. I'm not going to pronounce it right because I've had some drinks and stuff, but I think it's called Tittleman's. Tittleman's.
And not that you're going to pronounce it right anyhow.
Yeah, I'm not going to pronounce it right anyway.
Even if you're
that's why
sober.
that's why you're watching this podcast, because you know I'm going to screw up every damn time.
Right.
But I think it's called Tittleman's, Titleman's,
Okay.
Title,
Oh,
Titleman's.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, but it's also a great whiskey too. But that Jameson is known very, very well. Actually, on Blue Bloods, the kid on there, his name is Jamie. One of the
Right.
cast members on there, his name is
Right.
Jamie.
It's a great show, by
And
the
he
way.
goes in his real name is Jameson. So that all comes back from the whole Jameson Irish whiskey, which is really good.
Right. I've had Jameson before. The other one, well, you have to invite me over to your
Gentlemen's?
house. I'll be happy
I don't
to
have
try
it. I don't have it. I got to go buy it first.
Oh, okay. But, so if you...
But I'll let you buy it and then I'll try it. How's that sound?
Oh, that's great. How about we do it the other way around? But anyhow,
We can definitely do that. Wait a minute. Did I just talk myself out of a sale?
maybe.
Okay.
So, we're going to round back to Thin Lizzy now.
That sounds good. You want a sausage ball?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Cheryl, for the.
Oh,
love-
thank you, Cheryl.
We want to thank you, Cheryl.
for the
We love
sausage
you.
balls.
We love you.
Yeah.
You are married to both of us, so we'll do another podcast about that, and we'll have you right in the middle here, talking about how you just love both of us.
True.
It's a really complicated thing, too.
It's a little bit of a triangle or a parallelogram.
It kind of is. Why am I talking to you? You are with Cheryl.
Yeah.
And I'm with Cheryl.
Right.
Why are we doing this?
I'm not sure. Like I said, it's kind of a bizarre triangle. But anyhow, have you ever seen that band? Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did you see Thin Lizzy?
They never toured with Rush.
No, they weren't. So, have you seen them or not? No. Okay. Saw them once on a show with Deep Purple.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. Okay. I did. I couldn't tell you how many original members were there. I mean, the main guy, bass player, singer, he was long gone. I mean, he died at a very young age.
Why do that?
Tragic. He had a problem with drugs.
Oh, yeah.
He died of some sort of like sepsis or something like very painful. And there's I don't know if you have this. As you know, I usually do not like greatest hits albums.
Right.
I like an album because it's like their body of work, how they intended it to be on an album, But
Boys are back in town.
But they released an album maybe 10 years after he passed away called Dedication. It was mainly, I got it on CD because I think that was all that was available back then. But there's a foghorn in the background, and ships going past. But It was called Dedication, was the name of the album. And it was basically a greatest hits of Thin Lizzy. And the very last song on it was this song called Dedication, which was the last track he was working on when he passed away.
Jeez.
And they think, because he was already sick and he knew he was sick, you know, not doing well, and like some of the lyrics go, this song is dedicated to the woman I love. And then the other lyric is the song is dedicated to the daughter I'm leaving, something along those lines. Very,
Wow,
very
he
sad
must
stuff.
have known that it was
Right.
going to be the end.
But an excellent song. And then what they would, I think it was Gary Moore, went in the studio and redid, because it was only a rough demo that this guy had.
Uh-huh.
And Gary Moore went in the studio, and then he did that, put it more music into it and things of that nature. So if you need, have you ever heard the song Dedication? They played a little bit on the radio.
No, never have.
But I'll check on you. You know, in the next week.
I
or
will.
So,
I'll listen to
it's
it.
absolutely
Definitely.
phenomenal song, and then
Yeah.
when you know the backstory, it's absolutely ridiculous when you know the backstory.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But anyhow, so he died very tragically. And
Not
then
good.
Then the other part of the story is he had a mother that was kind of a self-made woman that owned a hotel. Is what it was, and then and she would go. Said that he, you know, obviously he broke her heart. She, you know, still was a woman so she lived, I think, into her 90s, but she would still go to his grave.
Okay.
And, you know, obviously just to, you know, to be there, but then also kind of be just ticked off at him that she missed so many years that could have been, you know, and he had a, you know,
And this was Thin Lizzy?
This was Thin Lizzy.
Okay.
And this was the bass player. I don't know how you say his name. His name was Phil. I don't know if you say Lynott or Lynette. I do not know, and that's him right there that you're looking at in the picture.
Okay.
Wonderful singer, wonderful songwriter. Did a couple solo albums that are absolutely fantastic.
So this is the song right here.
Yeah, that's the song. And if we don't talk over it, it'll get taken down. But it's a wonderful
Yeah,
song
it's a
called
wonderful
Dedication.
song. It sounds great.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a pretty awesome song,
Yeah.
man.
So,
Yeah, I like it. Yeah,
so you
okay.
can listen to it more, see how you like it. But
Yeah, I like
but the
that.
lyrics,
It's really
once you know the backstory, the lyrics are pretty intense because you know he probably knew he was passing away.
Yeah. Well, he was
but
doing
anyhow.
it in concert. So.
Yeah, so the first part we talked about was U2.
Yes.
I mean, I think the big one
Yes.
for this part, as far as that had international appeal, would have been Thin Lizzy.
Yes.
There is a little bit of a smaller band that most people don't know, but I'm going to suggest maybe you listen to it in the coming weeks. They were called, and you can make here, we'll wait for your jokes on this one, but they were called My Bloody Valentine. So go ahead, get it done first.
How about My Bloody Leprechaun?
You can do that.
My Bloody Leprechaun.
But or the famously Horse Lips.
Horse Lips. Did Horse Lips, did they perform the song My Bloody Leprechaun?
No. But I'm going to tell you what Horse Lips sounds like, okay? Let's pretend that Jethro Tull, because there's a lot of flute in it,
Yes.
and a little bit of fiddle. Let's pretend that Jethro Tull had a little bit more of an Irish influence. Both in voice, they kind of sound like that, and musically, they kind of sound like that. But they took, whereas Jethro Tull almost has kind of that English, almost like an English folk sound. These guys have more of an Irish folk sound, but they kind of sound like an Irish Jethro Tull. So you would probably kind of like them, Horse Lips, since you're eating horse lips. But anyhow, the last one was My Bloody Valentine. I will give you a homework assignment. We'll have you listen to My Bloody Valentine. You probably will like My Bloody Valentine because I'm thinking this is kind of right up your alley because there's a lot of distortion with the guitars. There's a lot of like phasing with the
Sitting
guitars.
on a leprechaun.
Back to Jethro Tull. Five little girls.
Watching
with
all the
battered heads.
leprechauns as they pass me by.
That's five little
Five little leprechauns.
with battered heads.
Would bop their heads.
If you think about that song, there's some disturbing stuff in some Jethro Tull songs because the guy's a pedophile.
Exactly.
We're really going to go on a tangent
Exactly.
here. But there's some stuff like that that's going on in there that...
I and little leprechauns.
But anyhow, we're going to have you listen to My Bloody Valentine's Loveless. Because I think it's that sound, like you mentioned, like Chris Cornell, and people from that sound, that type of... It's a little bit different than that, but it's that dissonance that they would use and kind of that kind of droney guitar that a lot of those like Seattle bands would do. So you'll probably like it.
Loveless! Loveless! Like that?
Not really.
Okay.
But
well,
you can do your homework and come back with it because very little vocals to it.
Okay,
you know.
there's not vocals on
There is.
My Bloody Bloody Leprechaun?
There is. But Rob's going to give us his honest assessment of it.
Yes. Oh,
So
Danny Boy.
There's one. There's one you could do. You could have
Okay.
Dropkick Murphys do Oh Danny Boy,
Oh, yeah.
which was my father-in-law's favorite song.
Dun, dun,
Oh Danny
dun,
Boy.
dun, 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 Danny Boy.
Right. We can
Danny Boy was walking, Daddy Man. We're going back to Boston to see the little Danny Boy.
Okay. yeah.
Hey, we are the wise guys
With a
the
Z.
And that is, you can look us up, the wise. Actually, you don't even have to look us up because
You're watching
you're
it
already
right
watching
now.
it already.
Right,
So
right,
it's
Rob,
the
you
Wise
know it.
Guys with the Z podcast. PODCAST.
Oh,
Happy
sorry.
Valentine's
Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
What'd you get me?
I got you a leprechaun.
I got you 3.
This is what I got you. There's a leprechaun there.
3 of them. 3 of them.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay.
Leprechaun.
Okay. Aren't you funny?
I know. I really.
So we are going to go to a segment
Okay.
that we started.
Yes.
We
We started a lot.
started a lot.
Yeah.
But we're going to, every week, do 3 picks.
Yes.
We've been talking about mainly a lot of mainstream things, especially the first 2 episodes we're talking about. I mean, everybody knows who, and I shouldn't say everybody, but most people know who Rush were. Most people know who
Yes.
Led Zeppelin are.
Excuse me.
And they don't necessarily have to be obscure because one of my picks today is definitely not obscure, okay? But we're going to pick, each of us are going to pick every week 3 albums that we love or 3 pieces of music. It doesn't have to be a whole album or whatever you love.
I bet your first one out of all of them is Liberace. Greatest
Absolutely.
Hits.
Absolutely. Remember, I don't like greatest hits albums, though.
That's true, but you like Liberace.
Not so much. As my wonderful mother-in-law would
Stop
say,
it. You're
as
just
my
a Liberace lover.
as my wonderful mother-in-law would say, not so much, Rob. Okay? Not so much, Rob. Not so much. That's what my mother-in-law used to say. You say something that was a little like quirky to her.
Not so
she'd look at
much.
us. She'd go, "Not so much, John. Not so
Not
much."
so
and
much.
she'd be like looking over your forehead. Not so much. Like, yeah, not so much. So, Rob, not so much.
Not so much.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I get that. Yeah.
so anyhow, do you remember your list of 3? Or
Yes,
do I
I
need
do.
to go back to
Yes,
that?
I
So
do.
do you want to start? Or you
Yeah,
want
I
me
can
to start?
start. Absolutely.
Go ahead. So 3 albums that you absolutely love or pieces of music, and then why and whatever.
So I'm gonna take these glasses off because this is some serious stuff. What I'm gonna be talking about.
And
right
I don't
now.
want to do it.
As I grab me a sausage ball. So, my favorite album, and I mean, I had to really think about this, John.
Okay.
I had to really think about this. Temple of the Dog.
Great album.
Reason being is it has Chris Cornell,
Great
rest in peace, one of the best rock and roll singers. And there, guys, you can comment on this if you want to. Yes, there's Robert Plant. Absolutely. He's phenomenal. Chris Cornell was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful singer. I actually got to see Chris Cornell in Soundgarden 2 weeks before he passed.
Okay.
One of the best shows.
Okay.
Chris Cornell, Eddie Vedder. How those two came together to be on this album, the Temple of the Dog. There was only one. It was just called Temple of the Dog. They did phenomenal. The band members on the album were phenomenal.
Didn't that predate Pearl? Wasn't that the deal that it predated Pearl Jam and Soundgarden? Isn't that why they got together? Because they were in that Seattle scene?
I believe it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, well, actually, Pearl Jam was going well. Soundgarden was going well.
Oh, so it was after they were already
it's
famous.
all
Okay.
it's and then they came together and did Temple of the Dog as a not a tribute album to anybody, really,
Just probably to have fun.
just to have fun.
Okay.
But my God, if you
That is a great album. I do have it.
you got to get Temple of the Dog. If you've never heard Temple of the Dog, you will love it. You really will love it. And comment and let me know what your thoughts are on it, because it is just a really well put together album. That's for sure. John?
Now I'm just thinking of that one song that's going through my head of Temple of the Dog. I don't know. Dun, dun, dun.
I don't mind stealing bread
Yeah, that one,
from
yeah.
the mouths of every day.
I'm going hungry.
I'm going hungry.
Yep.
Going hungry, yeah. I can't even do it, but that's Chris Cornell right there.
Right. Well, he had that high voice, but
But I can't do it, guys. I'm not even going to damn try.
all right.
But say hello to heaven.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's
a great
the one.
one. Yeah.
And hungry.
Yep. Those are the two hits.
Yep.
Yep.
And then there's other ones on there too.
But the whole thing is good.
But you gotta listen
The
to
whole
it.
point is, the reason you're bringing it up is the whole thing is good. Or you
Phenomenal.
would say, I like this song.
Phenomenal.
But the whole thing is good as a piece of work. And I would agree with you. That's and it's held up well over time. So for me, this will be quick and easy. You know, I don't usually do this, but it's a classical piece of music, which is way out of my wheelhouse usually. Okay, but there's this composer named Ralph Vaughan Williams. It did this piece of music now called "The Lark Ascending." Okay, that's the name of the music, and like I said, that's somewhat out of my wheelhouse. Starting to listen to it, you know, a little bit more. But something like that to me is like to relax or even to fall asleep to. Literally, to fall asleep to. But just like the name says, it sounds like a lark ascending. I mean, it's just such a beautiful piece of music. Why it's included. And a gentleman at my work that's really, it's ironic. He's a trombone player, and I saw on his shirt that, you know, he's a trombone player. So I said, oh, you know, because you know how I like jazz music a lot.
Yes.
So I said, oh, you're a jazz musician. He goes, no, I'm a classical musician. So
Right.
it didn't dawn on me that, you know, a trombone player, but he could be, you know, just, I was thinking he was like a jazz musician, you know, Dixieland and, you know, all that with the trombone. He said, no. He goes, I like classical music. Oh. So I thought, hey, you know, tell me a few things I should listen to, maybe that I've never heard of. So he said, hey, you need to listen to Ralph Vaughan Williams, The Lark Ascending. So I listened and I was like, wow, what a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. You know, but it sounds like we're hearing the birds out there, but it sounds like, you know, what it is.
Should I listen to that when I take my trip tomorrow to Missouri on the plane?
Oh, yeah.
Am I going to feel like a lark ascending?
No, you will feel, it's very calming. It's very calming, you know, and it's just a beautiful, you know, piece of. Obviously, us sitting here having a couple beers, we're not going to listen to Lark Ascending.
Why
But
not?
if you wanted to take a nap or you know, I mean, you just wanted to relax, a very relaxing piece of music.
Okay.
So just a beautiful.
Would it be like kind of like, you know, like thunder and well, not thunder and lightning, but thunder and rain? You know, where you have that app that you have the.
Yeah.
That's what I go to sleep
or
on when I go
remember
out
you
of
mentioned
town.
Enya?
Yeah.
Yeah, or like that. It's
Oh yes.
relaxing.
Yes.
It's,
Orinoco Flow.
and listen to it.
The Rose.
You know, it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that would be my first.
Caribbean Blue.
Whatever.
Love that song.
So you're up.
Oh man. Well, Enya, y'all, if you listen, I listen to all kinds of great music. Okay, I really do. I love all music. I mean, even country, everything's good. But I'm going to tell you, Enya, New Age, Yanni, New Age. There's other other ones out there as well. I listen to jazz too, heavy metal. So I can go from heavy metal to Enya, you know, in a heartbeat. That's for sure. But so you ready for me to tell you my second one?
Sure. I'm sure the people are on their... Yeah,
on your leprechaun.
Right.
You're on your leprechaun waiting to hear this. I'm gonna say Rush, of course, because I'm a Rush fan, and I have to have them in my top 3. That's for sure.
Okay.
So Rush, Exit Stage Left. There's a reason for that, because they have all of their songs. If I had to pick one album of Rush, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. There's no way. Because you have different songs on, those albums are on Exit Stage Left. So you have Tom Sawyer, you have Red Barchetta, you have Witch Hunt, you have Witch Hunt's a great song. You have YYZ, the drum solo in the middle of it, Yeah. So, I mean, you're getting that as well. You have 2112 on there, Overture, and then you have, Fly By Night. I mean, you're taking all these albums. And converting them into like a greatest hits, pretty much.
Right.
So
are you saying Exit Stage Left then?
Exit Stage Left.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Rush, Exit Stage Left.
Okay.
Yes.
I can't disagree with that. I mean, it doesn't have to be a studio album. And that's another example. It could be just a piece of music. It could be a studio album. It could be a live album. It happens to be a live album.
Always opened up with the Three Stooges thing.
Right.
Always.
Right.
And then they also started getting South Park in there, and then you've got 2 great actors that supported them as well. Love You Man is a great movie with I can't think of that guy's name. Saved my life. The more beer I drink, guys, the more I lose it, and I have sometimers.
He can't afford to lose any more brain cells, folks.
Yeah.
So
because I rely on him for all the knowledge,
which is not going to get him far. But anyway.
No, not at all. So. Not at all. But yeah, I would say that particular album. I mean, I actually have that on DVD. And it's a wonderful, wonderful album. Now, I will tell you...
I have it on Laserdisc.
You have it on Laserdisc, yeah. That dates you, that's for sure. Dates you.
Remember, we talked about that.
Being a young lad or something. I guess you have it on 8-track, too, don't you?
Not anymore. I used to.
What happened to it?
I'm sure it disintegrated over the years. It was an 8-track.
That's true. That's true.
At least an LP would be around.
So that, but the thing is I have Snakes and Arrows. I have... that for the DVD on that one. That's a great one too, because they did all their songs like 2112, and they did some, they did a lot of songs from Exit Stage Left, and then so you had all of that as well. So I would say that Exit Stage Left is my favorite album. There's also Worlds of Stage as well.
Right.
All Worlds of Stage.
Now that's the one with the drums on the front, right? Or is it?
That's the one.
Yeah. Because that's the Stage Left has the person going out.
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct. She's leading.
Right.
She's taking off.
Yeah. And then it's the double kick drum on the front of
yes.
that. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which that had a lot of their old stuff. Bytor and the Snow Dog.
Right.
And Lakeside Park. All of that.
Love Lakeside Park. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Lakeside Park.
Yeah.
Well, it was about our subdivision. Lakeside Park.
Right.
We have a lake. La la la.
It could be Bastille Day too.
Oh yes.
So the pick is people should listen to Exit Stage Left.
Exit Stage Left.
Okay. All right. So good one, Rob.
Yeah.
It only took you like 20 minutes.
I'm really kind of glad I got through that one. I'll be honest with you.
Well, think while I'm doing this one on your third one. Pull that out of your ass. But
okay, hold on.
No, you have a minute or two. So I'm going to come up. Have you ever heard of the guy Charles Mingus? Does that name ring a bell at all? He was a bass player, predominantly jazz, but he did an album. I don't even know if I can pronounce it, but it's called Pithecanthropus erectus. I I knew you would love that. It's such a. I feel like I'm back at kindergarten. You know.
I think I'll have a sausage ball off of that one.
Anyhow,
what in
it
the
is a
hell are you
modal.
talking
It
about?
is a modal or bebop jazz album. It's basically 2 saxophones, a piano, a bass, and drums. Very good drum playing. Okay. Now you respect jazz drummers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Go. I'll wait till you're done. Anyhow, so this particular album is one of those type of jazz albums that gets out there a little too much avant-garde, if you will, or starts to go avant-garde.
Okay.
Okay. But what's spectacular about it is about the time that it gets what you would call a little bit uncomfortable, he brings it back to the melody.
Okay.
So if you haven't listened to this
Working
piece of music, well, if you haven't listened to this piece of music, you need to try it because put it in the context, it was made in 1956, that it was something that went out. And some of this jazz, you know, where it gets kind of squonky and like very strange. Have you ever heard any of that?
Oh, yeah.
But anyhow, but he always, when it gets almost too uncomfortable, he brings it back into the melody.
Okay.
But the point is, it was made in 56 where they weren't doing anything that was out there like that. You follow me? And it's become a cherished piece of music. But as far as jazz pieces of music, a full album, it's one of my favorites at this point in time. But like I always tell you is, week by week, that could change.
Oh, yeah.
You know, how that goes. So that would be my next pick. It's Charles Mingus, Pithecanthropus erectus. Ironically enough, he's a musician that was born in Nogales, Arizona. Laura and I moved here from Arizona. Nogales is a border town, and I believe his father was military. His wife, you know, he was born down in Nogales, Arizona. Once again, a man who died pretty young. I think he was only about 60 when he passed too. But very large catalog of music, all worthwhile. But that would be my second pick. What's your third pick, Rob? Silence.
You know, no,
Exclamation
actually,
point, silence.
actually, you know, I have to kind of go off what you're saying and everything. I guess it would be Rick Wakeman, Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Seriously?
It's
Wow,
a
that's
great
album. That's
it's a
album.
great
Okay.
album, you know.
Wow.
But there's a lot. I mean, because I'm trying to be on your level, dude. I had another one that I was going to talk about, but
What was that?
when you're talking about Mingus, Charles Mingus, and Papa
Roach.
Papa Roach,
Right.
Man, there is a lot of freaking bands that I would say was number one. I would say that, you know, Kiss Alive 1 and Kiss Alive 2,
Right.
great, you know, great stuff. That was in their old days, so it was really good. You know, when Kiss just, I don't know. Paul Stanley, I don't know if y'all agree with me on this, but Paul Stanley, I've seen Kiss in concert a lot, and Paul Stanley talks a freaking lot. And it's like, I want to go to a concert and hear music. You know what I mean? And Paul Stanley's like, hey! And you got the drums in the back. Hey, how many of you tonight are loving us?
And you're going, who cares?
And I'm like, who cares? I want to hear some music. I want to hear God of Thunder.
Right.
I want to hear Creatures of the Night. You know, that's an album, but it was...
I Love It Loud.
I Love It Loud, yes.
Whoa.
Bum, bum,
Whoa.
bum, bum, whoa. We can make that
Okay.
We can make that into an Irish thing, you know. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, hey,
We'll do it.
Hey, hey,
We'll do it.
Hey.
We'll do if Kiss were Irish.
Yes, if Kiss was Irish. They call me Dr. Love. They call me Dr. Love.
Or if Sinead O'Connor sang with Kiss.
Yes, exactly. Nothing compares to you. How about dun, 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 I love it loud.
No, it was, I really love you, babe.
I love you, really love you, babe. Now, see, we just went off on a tangent.
Way off. But,
Guinness.
So you were saying Alive 1 and 2 is
Yes.
what you were bringing up.
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
I would agree. Great
Yes.
live albums.
Good.
Okay.
Yes, great album.
As a side note, I think the first live album was recorded in Detroit.
Yes.
I think they called it Cobo Hall, if I remember
Yes.
right, and I think it still exists. And the second, I just know it.
Yeah.
The second live album was recorded in San Diego.
Uh-huh.
And the only reason I know that one is I actually flew over. I have this deal with my nieces and nephews that I'm the weird uncle that'll take them to their first concert.
Okay.
So, my nephew Cole, no, it was Kelton. Yeah, it was Kelton. My nephew Kelton lives in San Diego.
Okay.
So went with him to see Kiss. He said, "Hey, Uncle John, what first show I want to see is it happens to be Kiss." I said, "Okay." So I flew out to San Diego, and that's where it was the same stadium, or it's a hockey rink, but that's where Kiss Alive was done. 2.
Okay.
Kiss Alive 2 was done. And then the opening band for that was Buck Cherry, which was phenomenal.
Yes.
Remember the band Buck Cherry?
Yes, I
That was
do.
the opening band.
Hey, y'all great. Anyway.
Yeah, you can't say that one, right? And you know that album, Confessions?
Yes.
Phenomenal album. But so the song you were gonna say, but that you can't say, is
Hey,
song.
y'all crazy.
Yeah. And then Confessions is a great album. But anyhow, so I take my, ironically enough, with your Kiss story, I think 3 of my nephews chose Kiss as something to go see. So I've seen Kiss probably 7 times, but 3 of the times was because it was that uncle take you to a
Yes.
show kind of thing. So anyhow, Live 2 actually saw them perform at that particular venue. But I would agree with you, but I would also say that I think Alive 1 is the better of the 2.
Yes, it is. It definitely is.
I like the
Was that
songs
your
better.
first concert?
Which?
What was your first concert?
Ever?
Yeah.
First concert ever was Deep Purple.
Now that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what mine was?
What's that?
Iron Maiden, Somewhere in Time.
Okay.
It
That
was
would've been
actually my
awesome.
first CD. My first CD, guys, was Somewhere in Time, Iron Maiden. Great songs off of that. Wasted Years is one on there. So I loved Iron Maiden. I still love Iron Maiden. And Bruce Dickinson is actually a pilot.
Or Dickinson,
Is
but
it-
depending.
yeah,
or,
Dickinson.
Unless he changed his name to Dickerson.
Dickerson.
Okay.
Bruce Dickinson needs more cowbell.
Right. He might, but he's got a phenomenal voice.
Yes, he's got a phenomenal voice, but he was not the original.
Paul Di'Anno
Paul Di'Anno. Yeah.
did
But
the
he-
first 2 albums. I
Yep.
think, maybe
Did
3.
he die?
No, he's still around.
He's still around? Okay.
So he still slugs it out doing Maiden tunes. I mean,
Yeah.
the ones he was on, because he for sure did Killers. I
Mm-hmm.
know that, and the album Iron Maiden, and I think maybe the first the little live thing they did out of Japan.
Yeah.
I have all those on vinyl. But I saw Maiden for what was the name of the album that has the Egyptian theme?
Oh, that
the
was
first time I saw them.
Alive After Death.
Okay, that was no. That was the live album, but I saw them on that album that had the Egyptian theme.
Power Slave.
Power Slave, thank you.
Power Slave. I saw that one too.
Yeah, so I saw that, and the opening bands are fantastic. They were Saxon and Fastway. You remember both of those bands?
I sure do.
So I was going to ask you this. This is a little segue, and we're way off the Kiss Alive 1 and 2, but this is normal for us, is it not? So what I was going to ask you is Saxon, who's phenomenal,
Yes.
in my estimation of that. They call that new wave of British heavy metal. That
Yes.
sound. Saxon is coming to town.
Cool.
Okay, and they're playing with Uriah Heep. Remember Uriah Heep?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody in the audience remembers Uriah Heep. Easy Living. Remember that song?
Yes.
Okay. So I would love, and you're welcome to go too, but they're playing together.
Where?
Somewhere downtown.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact
Eddie's
venue.
Attic?
Huh?
I'm just kidding.
No, it's not.
Eddie's
It's
Attic.
definitely not Eddie's Attic. But it
On
is.
the center stage.
I mean, it is a place that holds several thousand people.
Yeah.
But 2 very, very good British bands.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember because I had, when for that did you say it was Power Slave tour?
Power Slave.
Yeah,
Yep.
Power Slave tour. Because it was all set up like a pyramid and this and that.
Yes.
But Fastway, that was the first band, and Fastway kind of they were offshoots because it was Fast Eddie Clark from Motorhead. So they were offshoots from Motorhead. He had just left Motorhead, started that band with Pete Way of UFO. Remember the band UFO?
Uh-huh.
So they started that band Fastway. So they were phenomenal. And I forget what song that they had a little bit of radio play, but they were on that soundtrack. So it was getting a little play on radio to Trick or Treat. Remember that? It was like a horror movie
Yes.
in the 80s.
I love that movie.
So they were
Yes.
on that. So they were getting a little radio play from that. And I think Alice Cooper actually acted in that particular
He
movie.
did. He sure did.
So there's
He
our
sure
culture.
did.
We're bringing in movie culture.
Yes.
So anyhow, so they absolutely killed it. Okay, I had heard some songs. Saxon, I knew a little bit.
Oh, yes.
But Saxon,
Wow.
slayed it.
Yes, they
Saxon
did.
slayed it. And then, come on, it was Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
I mean, what do you want?
of course.
And then I saw Maiden. I actually saw. Remember the band the kids like now called Ghost?
Oh, hell
You know
yeah.
Ghost? You know
I
Ghost?
love Ghost.
Okay.
Yes.
Um,
Great band.
they opened for Iron Maiden. Another time I saw Iron Maiden. You know,
love
they
to
were
see
pretty. They were pretty new. Ghost was pretty new at that time. You know, really didn't know who they were, but they were a very good band, and they were still wearing the masks and all that crap that they do now. Even back then, they were still doing it.
Mariana.
Way before that would have came out. The only prominent song they had was is it called Le Balping Hammer or something? That was the only song that was getting any radio plays. It was very early in their career, but they were exceptional. And even in their later years now, Maiden was exceptional.
Oh, yeah.
But they take care of themselves. You know, they weren't a bunch of guys that were overdosing and things like that, and so they're around. You know, as far as that goes.
So I went down to Tampa
Okay.
with a buddy of mine and drove down to Tampa, Florida. Thank you so much,
You are
Laura.
welcome.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to
Happy
you.
St. Patrick's Day.
We
Luck of the
drove
Irish.
we drove down to Tampa, and the Iron Maiden concert was on a Sunday night, and Saturday is Lady Gaga. So you had Iron Maiden fans and you had Lady Gaga fans down there, and it was not a very good mix, that's for sure. So it was, but Iron Maiden, let me tell you something. It was, I have seen them many, many times, and they do not disappoint. They are so good. There are some bands out there. I'm not going to name any of them, but
Well, we don't want to name bands. We don't want people to see
no,
if
we
they're
don't.
not
Yeah,
playing well.
yeah. But I will tell you a band that I've heard from friends, and there are a couple of bands that have gone that I have seen before,
Okay.
and they've got great musicians.
Okay.
Lead singer he needs to hang it up. He can't. I don't want.
This is a French band? Is that what you're saying?
No, this is not a French band.
Oh.
No, this is an American band.
Okay.
They're not Canadian.
Okay.
They,
Being that they're American, they're not Canadian. once again?
they're not
Okay.
American. They're Canadian. But,
Who is it?
Oh, I can't say
Why?
because. Well, all right. I will go ahead and talk about this, guys. I hope you don't kill me for this, but I have to say, and I've heard from other people, Motley Crue, they need to hang it up. Tommy Lee, great drummer. Mick Mars, he's gone. They got another guitarist on there now.
John
Nick-
won.
Huh?
John won.
John Lennon.
No,
Yes.
John won.
John won, not John Lennon. Well,
Correct.
Rest in peace, John Lennon. We still
We
love
like
you.
John Lennon.
Yeah.
We, you know.
'Cause can you imagine all the people loving John Lennon?
Right.
But anyway, so anyway, they need to stop touring. They're just not.
I almost walked out on a Motley Crue show
How long ago?
because
Just recently.
no, this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago before we moved to Georgia here. Mm-hmm. Reason I went I had no real interest in seeing them. It was a dual show with Alice Cooper.
Okay.
Alice Cooper, I adore, and we're going to go see Alice.
Yes, we are
Later in the year.
Yep. With Rob Zombie.
He was so good as they were bad. Okay. Musically, and this Mick Mars was still with them. Musically, they were still good. Here's the problem:
the lead singer sucks.
He can't sing anymore.
Yeah, and
Okay?
he makes up shit,
right.
and I'm tired of it. Don't pay money to go see somebody.
It's no shame. Stupid. It's no shame. I mean, you're getting older. You don't have the voice. Do something different. Like we talked about this before, that Robert Plant is doing this gracefully. He is only singing things he can sing. He's not trying to sing stuff he can't sing.
Thank you.
He either has Alison Krauss do it, or he doesn't do it.
Yes.
Or he doesn't do it at all.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
Because he's not trying to be somebody he can't be. Now, this is just a money grab, if you will. Now, with that being said, and this kind of goes full circle with what you're talking about in the very beginning with Kiss 1 and Kiss Alive 2, is I saw, I want to say it was either 83 or 84, the album you mentioned, I Love It Loud by Kiss.
Yeah.
Okay, that was pretty much at the bottom, or close to the bottom of their career. They were still wearing the makeup.
Yeah.
Nobody was interested, or a lot less people were interested in seeing them live. I saw them at
Which I don't understand. I don't understand that.
They just didn't have the popularity. But they didn't have the popularity. They
had a movie.
Eric Carr was the drummer.
Okay.
And then it had Vinnie Vincent on guitar at that
So this
point.
was Creatures of the Night.
Oh, it was Creatures of the Night then. Okay.
Yep.
So
rest in peace, Eric Carr.
Right. So it was at this hockey rink, okay? And literally went in, like we've talked about it, everybody just pays, whatever for a ticket, you go in. I literally was leaning on the stage on Gene Simmons, or what will be.
You were laying on Gene Simmons?
No, not laying on him, on the side of his stage. And the opening band came out. Like I said, there's maybe 1,000 people.
Was it Horse Lips?
No, it was not Horse Lips.
Damn it.
Opening band came out. They had 2 candelabras on each side of the stage. They wore like kabuki makeup, like the Japanese kabuki makeup.
And it was
they
Motley
played, and it was Motley Crue. They killed it. They were young. They only had their first album out, and that first album killed it. Exactly. They played all that, merry-go-round and round.
Yeah.
And I was like, we went, holy cow, who are these guys? And I went out and I bought that album the next day at Tower Records. Remember Tower Records?
Yes.
So, and Kiss killed it, by the way. They absolutely killed that show. But it was almost painful because there was about 1,000 people there for a big production show. I'm sure they lost their asses putting that on. But my point being is those guys were young and hungry. They still could do it. He still could sing. And they killed him. And then I see him, 30 years later. And,
They're still great musicians. Don't get me wrong, but
musicians, but losing the voice.
But he's losing his voice,
and that ruins it.
And he's like, he's up there, and he's like, no, you can't understand a damn word he says.
No, you do it better.
Vince Gill, yeah.
Vince Gill? Did you just say Vince Gill?
Vince Gill. No, not Vince Gill.
Gill.
Vince Gill.
Now, you brought up an interesting point. Vince Gill, the country singer?
Love it.
You love it?
Amy, what you
Excellent. That's what I was going to ask. He was the singer of Pure
Yes,
Prairie.
sir. Yes, sir.
Excellent. Good trivia question.
I'm in love with you.
So the end of the maybe longer if I do. Okay. So your pick was Kiss Alive 1 and 2.
Kiss Alive 1 and 2, and Elton John live in Australia.
No. Okay. Whatever. All right, so we're going to finish up on my third one for picks of the week. My third one is not obscure.
It's going to be something crazy as hell.
No, this is not obscure. This is
Bumblebees in the Night.
No. Very, very rarely do I say this is a perfect album. That like every single song is great on it. But I will say about this. This is the Grateful Dead's American Beauty. Mm-hmm. Every single song is great on that album.
Okay, I've got to listen to that then.
Okay, you have not listened to that album?
No.
What's he, crazy? If not listened to that, okay, I'm going to read you.
I will get by.
No. That was like 30 years later. That was 30 years later. Now, listen to me. The Grateful Dead would play almost, I'm going to list you these songs. These are the songs from the album, and every one of these songs they'd play for the rest of their career. Listen to this. If this was not like a greatest hits, even though they never got played on the radio, other than FM radio, but listen to this. The Grateful Dead's American Beauty, first song, Box of Rain. Beautiful song. Second song, Friend of the Devil. Everybody knows Friend of the Devil. Third song, Sugar Magnolia. Almost every show played Sugar Magnolia, and I've seen them about 7 times. Operator, which is one of the songs. They never did it as later because Pigpen sang it, who was the keyboard player that died. Operator was a big song of theirs. Candyman.
Yes.
Huge song. That was another Pigpen song. They didn't play it later unless they had a certain keyboardist that could sing it. Ripple. Always played Ripple. Here's another one. Broke Down Palace. Other people ripped it off.
Sounds like Brokeback Mountain.
No, it's not. Brokeback Mountain is your college years. Okay. Number 8. Till the Morning Comes. Another song that they played all the time. Number 9. Addicts of My Life. That was played all the time. The last song on the album. Truckin'. Okay, now, does that not sound like a greatest hits album? That was not a greatest hits album. That was one of their studio albums. To me, that is a perfect album. If you've never listened to that album, you need to listen to that. And the folks out there, if you truly have never listened to that album, it's a perfect album. I usually do not say perfect albums, but that is a perfect album by the Grateful Dead. Now, the many times I would see the Grateful Dead, they would take these songs, and you might play, especially like something like Ripple or Sugar Magnolias, they might play it for 25 minutes. You know, it's still the same structure, but Jerry Garcia would go out on these solos. He might play a solo for 10 minutes. Have you ever seen the Dead, by the way? Did you ever get a chance to see the Grateful Dead?
I have never seen them.
And we've got some people in the audience that have seen the Dead, including myself. Yep, they're going to give a clap. I've seen them, I think 7 times, maybe.
Whoa!
And they would go off. One of the things that was unique, if you read a little bit of the history about the Dead, is they never had a set list, and that's why they had all these. You ever heard this ethos behind it, where they had like a taping community where they trade tapes of different shows and things like that. It was a whole culture of, hey, I saw this show in San Francisco on whatever date. I'll trade you this for the show you saw in New York. And the reason they do that is no Grateful Dead show was ever the same. Okay, that's why they traveled around and people would follow them, because they were never the same. And even when they were going up to play, this is in Garcia's day.
I've got one for you, though.
Well, let me finish this thought.
Right. Yeah.
And even when in Garcia, I'm talking about up to the point Garcia died, okay? They would go, in my understanding, reading some of the biographies of members, is they never had a formal set list. That Garcia, they would look at each other, okay, and he would start a guitar change into the next song, and they never knew what it was going to be. So that's why all the shows were different, and they would do it like this. So it was all fresh, and it was all new, and every show was different. So if you saw them the next night, these people could follow them around because all the shows were going to be different.
Yes.
So it was unique, and that's why, like, even to this day, they'll put out one year they put out a box set that was like 71 CDs. You couldn't live long enough to listen to all that, but these people were rabid about, you know, having all these shows. Now, I have some of that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to buy every single thing by the Grateful Dead, but I do love them. Point being, that was my third one, Rob, and that's a perfect album. So
Yes.
yeah, you were going to say.
Well, what I was going to say is that another group that just went off and they were great in concert was the Allman Brothers.
Of course.
And
Of
I mean,
course.
they played a lot. I mean, and you know, and also Leonard Skinner is another one. You know that they would play and everything. You know,
Well,
they would play a lot on, different songs on that. Now, yes, I wish I would have seen the Grateful Dead with Jerry Garcia. Yeah, I do, definitely do. However,
wow, we got a piano going off there.
yeah, da 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 da, bad to the bone. It's my wife calling me, and yeah. So anyway.
But he was a unique kind of guitar player.
Yes.
He's not a blues-based guitar player. Jerry Garcia, that's more rooted, truthfully, in jazz, by the way he was playing.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and it's why
Rest in soul, right?
Right.
Rest
That's
in
why
peace.
my avenue is kind of drifted into jazz, where they're taking these
Yeah.
solos. I mean, you need that kind of unstructure, if you will, to play solos like that are non. There's only so long you can carry a blues solo.
Yes.
Let's say. So, I mean, you know that. You're more of a musician.
Richard, did
by
you
heart.
see the Grateful Dead?
One time.
One time.
One time.
So one member of the audience saw him once.
And it was totally by accident.
Yep.
A friend of mine had tickets to go, and his girlfriend stood him up. So he called me and said, "Hey, you want to go?"
Yep.
So he and I went, and I was amazed.
Yep. Great musicians, weren't they?
Would you say that Fish is a lot like the Grateful Dead?
Kind of, sort of.
Just with the soloing and stuff like that, whereas Fish was almost, their songs are more pop-like.
Yeah.
Versus is how I would categorize it.
Yeah.
Where it's a little bit different. But when they soloed, you had that kind of organic soloing.
Right.
Now where it was different too is they would have, because that's Trey Anastasia, but they would do a little bit more with the piano and the organ in Fish as far as the solos. It depends who was playing with the Dead at the time, how much they would do solos with the piano. Because that's one of the things, is the Dead, it's almost like Spinal Tap. They had a revolving thing with the keyboards. The keyboarders were always dying. Something was always happening to the keyboard players. But it's kind of like a Spinal Tap thing.
Yeah, Spinal Tap.
Not a drummer, it was a keyboard player. So, but it depends who was playing that keyboards. And then, I'd see different incarnations of it. Like I saw Rat Dog, which was a lot of the guys, but it was Weir and some of the other guys. And, I've seen different incarnations of it. But for me, and we're getting towards the end of this, Rob, but for me, and we'll do next week, we'll do 3 more again, right?
Yes.
But for me, it's going to be, and once again, I'm going to say I think it's a perfect album, beginning to end. And if you've never heard it, you need to listen to it from beginning to end.
Right.
It's the Grateful Dead's American Beauty, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to go, but we are what, Rob?
We are the Wise Guys, and that's Guys with a Z, and it is the Wise Guys Podcast, Podcast. Hey, listen, guys, we appreciate you listening to us today and seeing us today. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, and take care of yourself.
Yep. And